I enrolled into BII University in California a couple years back. I moved into the dorm there, but after some time of staying there, I just couldn't get used to the lifestyle. That's when I met a girl named Adelia, who was looking for a roommate for her apartment. I moved into Adelia's apartment, and within no time, Adelia and I were the best of friends. I have a lot in common with Adelia, and we get along well. Even when we get into fights sometimes, we always sorted things out one way or the other. Adelia and I have different majors, but we still have a few common classes together. It all actually began from one of those classes, Stat 201. There was a guy named Scott who was part of the class with us. I don't want to be shallow, but guys are always following me around. It's like I'd win a lottery if there was one day that someone didn't hit on me. But anyways, Scott was one of those guys who were in line to get a date with me. Scott was a stud among his friends. I never liked his attitude or the way he talked whenever he talked to me. He was a corny flirter, and honestly, he made me want to puke. Christina, like the new shirt I got? Feel it. You know what it's made of? What? Boyfriend material. Leave me alone, Scott. Although Scott always complimented me, I could never take those compliments with a smile. They always made me shudder. And if it isn't obvious enough, when he asked me out on a date, I rejected him. And it wasn't only once, it was quite a few times. He finally did stop following me around and bugging me every time we had class together. But eventually, he went after Adelia. I was worried for Adelia, because Scott didn't seem like the guy that was capable of being faithful. Adelia was a pretty girl, and I'd bet you $1,000,000 that she could get a guy 100 times better than Scott. I tried to talk to Adelia about him and warned her. Addie, I don't think you should go out with Scott. He's not really that great of a guy. Why not? Do you know something? Tell me. It's not a secret, Addie. Everyone knows. He has been hitting on me since day one, and now that I've rejected him, he's moved on to you to make my life difficult. Next, he's gonna be at some other girl's table. Oh, it will be fine. It's just one date, not like I'm gonna marry him. That was the first date that Scott and Adelia went on, and as much as I hoped that it would turn out into a disaster, it didn't. Scott and Adelia started dating and seeing each other regularly. They went out for lunch together, they booked tickets to the movies one day, or a romantic walk in the park another day. It was as if Scott and Adelia were the perfect couple. So, how's it going with Scott? Everything's good. I really like him, he's nice. Oh, well, I guess I judged him wrong. Over the days, it seemed as if the two had truly fallen for each other. It was cute. I was happy for Adelia. But as some time went by, it seemed like Adelia was starting to lose interest in Scott. She stopped meeting him, and I would see her avoiding his messages or replying to them late when she was done with her work. Scott, however, always tried to keep her happy. He often used to come to our apartment, and sometimes he would even stay overnight. He would be knocking on our door with flowers one day or chocolate the other. I would hear him trying to make Adelia laugh, but Adelia was always upset for some reason. I used to overhear her yelling at Scott. I guess she didn't feel the same way as she initially did about the relationship. One of these days, when Scott was staying over, I found him sitting on our couch alone. He looked down and upset, so I went to talk to him. What happened? Why is your face like that? What? Why is my face like what? I mean, why are you upset? Honestly, I don't think your friend is into me anymore, but I think I've fallen in love with her. She's been staying away from me. She doesn't answer my messages. I don't know what's gotten into her. I always try to keep her happy, but she's always reluctant to spend any time with me. I don't want to lose her. Although I didn't think very highly of Scott, I actually started to feel very bad for him. The guy looked like he was miserable, and that he truly wanted to make things work. So when I got the next chance, I tried to speak with Adelia about what was going on. "Addie, what's up? I was talking to Scott the other day. He looked very depressed." "You are right, Chrissy. Maybe he does have a few problems." "Did something happen?" "It's always like he's in my face. He's overly jealous and overly possessive. This relationship isn't going to be possible like this." "Addie, did you consider that he may truly be in love with you?" "I don't know, maybe." "Addie, why are you behaving like this? Every time he's trying to make it all work, it's like you're ruining everything on purpose." "I really don't know, Chrissy." I noticed that Scott and Adelia weren't getting along too well, but I always hoped for them to patch up and be like they were before. I could see Adelia was the one who was being a brat in the relationship. Scott was sincerely there for her. He would often come to the apartment early and wait for Adelia to come back home. I would sit with him and use those opportunities and try to give him advice. After all, no one knew Adelia like I knew Adelia. Scott would break down and tell me how he thought Adelia was cheating on him, or at least flirting with other guys. And when he would confront Adelia, she would get enraged and accuse him instead. I feel insecure. I don't know how to explain it to Adelia how much I love her. It's like she doesn't even care for our relationship. When I see her laughing with other guys, you don't know how I feel. It's like my heart is on fire. Maybe Addie was just teasing you. I tried to console him and get his mind off of things. We started joking and sharing stories with each other. That's when I really started to realize how judgmental and wrong I was about Scott. Scott was a very decent person, and I think I had fallen in love with Scott. But it seemed like Scott was still very much in love with Adelia, even though he was happier spending time with me. I had to do something about it. One day, while spending time on the couch while Scott was waiting for Adelia, things went a little bit out of its way on my indirect insistence, and Scott reluctantly complied. Scott soon broke up with Adelia, and Scott and I decided to never see each other again. After a week or so, we couldn't control ourselves. After tremendously missing him, I was desperately hoping he would call me, and Scott did. We met. I was regretting the moment we decided not to see each other again. I think I have feelings for you. I also had feelings for him, but I jokingly said, "So now you're after me again?" and left. Scott and I started dating, obviously in secret. But when Adelia found out of our relationship, things got complicated. She couldn't handle it. She kept on warning me against Scott as I used to warn her. But I was happy with Scott, and we were in love. It seemed like Adelia started to hate me. "How could you do this to me? I thought you were my friend. I trusted you." No one knows why they fall in love, and who they may fall in love with. Why are you complaining when you were the one who said that your relationship with him wasn't working out? Sharing the apartment with Adelia had become next to impossible. I decided to move out and go back to the dorm. That's when Scott offered me to move in with him in his apartment, as his roommate had recently moved out. I was already spending much time in his apartment. "Your apartment? Are you sure?" "Absolutely. Valentine's Day is in 2 weeks. This will be my Valentine's gift." Things were going well. I was happy with Scott. He was always nice. He knew how to make me laugh. He knew how to cheer me up when I was sad. Do you think I should have done this to Adelia? "Christina, do you smell that?" "What? Smell what?" "I'm smelling it all over this apartment. You know what it is?" "What is it?" "Boyfriend material." What have I done? Scott could figure when something was bothering me, and he would always be by my side to support me. It was right before Valentine's Day, while I was living at his apartment, I got a call from Scott. "Hello, Scott? Yeah, what's up?" "Hello? Hello?" Scott was out with his buddies. I realized he had somehow butt-dialed me. I tried to yell loudly to catch his attention, but he kept on chatting with his friends. I was about to put the phone down when I overheard something that made me curious. They were all talking about girls. I thought he would be talking about me, so I quietly eavesdropped on the guys. "Dude, how did you land this girl? Didn't she hate you before?" "I told you guys it was the best plan. You're right, Christina didn't like me at all, so I had to use plan B. I had to impress the best friend Adelia to get closer to Christina." Just when the relationship was picture perfect, I paid Dan and Kevin to chit-chat with Adelia, praise her and follow her around, so I could play the victim in front of Christina. After that, making her feel for me was a piece of cake. We started flirting, I made her laugh, and now this chick is crazy about me. I couldn't believe I fell for his stupid trick. Scott was the jerk I thought he was. He only dated Adelia to get closer to me. He made Adelia look like she was ruining the relationship. It was all his plan. I was devastated. I felt like I betrayed Adelia when I fell for Scott. I had to make things right with Adelia. I went straight back to Adelia's apartment. The insults I got from Adelia were well deserved. But like I said before, we get into fights, but things always got right between us. She was truly my best friend, a better friend than I ever was. "Hey Scott, I got a Valentine surprise for you." "What is it, babe?" Adelia stepped out of the room. She was blushing and smiling. "Adelia is deeply in love with you. She has recognized her mistakes, what she had lost when she lost you. Why don't you date both of us together? I don't have any problem, and Adelia doesn't have any problem either. Together? I don't know." Scott never ever imagined in his wildest dreams that I could accept such a thing. "Scott, please take me back. Honestly, I had feelings for both of you. Adelia, I never stopped loving you. And I can't live without you, Christina." We both laughed uncontrollably, and Scott got very excited and happy. It was the best Valentine gift anyone could have ever given to Scott. In fact, it was better than all gifts put together. "Dude, how did this happen?" "Leave it, man. I deserved it." Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.